Tom.
And I'm Denise, and we're
Hopelessly Lost.
A lot of people last night were saying that this show isn't so good, Tom. But I don't believe them. Don't believe the haters.
Not so. This show was set up to make you think it was all about Kate. It wasn't really all about Kate. It was all about Claire. It was all set up to make you think that Claire was just along for the ride, and the action was about Kate. Not so.
That's right. But there were some really great lines, as usual, this week. One of my favorites, right at the beginning, Saeed is woken up, and Sawyer says, off in the corner, in his own Sawyer way, of course he's fine. He's an Iraqi torturer who shoots kids. He definitely deserves another go-round. It's perfect.
No. You want great lines? You turn to Hugo. And Hugo asks Saeed at one point, "Dude, are you a zombie?" And Saeed calmly responds, "No, I am not a zombie."
And then, maybe not one of the most memorable lines, but definitely for a character, you have one of the others saying, "This is your chance to redeem yourself," to Jack, which is like crack rock to Jack. I mean,
one of the first big shockers was in the LA sequence when Claire flies halfway around the world to bring her baby, her unborn baby, to the couple that's going to adopt her. She shows up at the door and the woman says, "Sorry, my husband left me and I don't want your kid."
But that wasn't the first of the shockers. Right after that, what happens? Claire goes into labor. Claire goes into labor right then and there. And then she goes to the hospital. And then what happens?
Ethan is her doctor!
Ethan, creepy Ethan from the others, from the island, the guy who pretended to be one of them from the crash. Another big shocker. Okay, so the head of the others dude, the guy who doesn't want to speak English, gives a pill to Jack to give to Saeed. And Jack doesn't give it to him, and he basically, swallows the pill to try to figure out what it is. And the guy, basically goes through great heroics to try to get it out of Jack's gullet. And basically it was poison, we find out. They were trying to kill Saeed. So way to call his bluff, Jack.
The big shocker came at near the end when one of the others says to Jack, everything that your friend once was is now gone. And Jack says, "Well, how do you know? How can you be sure of that?" And he says, "Because it happened to your sister." Oh! Well, we know that Sawyer does indeed have a tender side, that he pulled out his engagement ring that he was going to give to Juliet and threw it in the ocean.
Another question answered, what happened to Claire? Okay, we finally get to see Claire, not in the LA timeline, only in the LA timeline, but in the island timeline. But questions raised, well, what the hell did happen to Claire? I mean, she was like this innocent, lady who just had a baby, and now she's, badass, Rambo. Another
question raised is, we still don't know, what is Saeed? If you recall, way back in the first or second season, when Saeed first encountered Russo, she tied him down and tortured him. And that's the same thing that the others did to him this time, as the test. Was Russo testing him way back when?
Another one of the big questions raised, a little more subtle, but basically, is Kate remembering stuff from the island? LA Kate. Every time something happens in LA, she sees someone that looks familiar.
She gives lingering looks.
These little lingering looks, especially when Claire called her baby Aaron. That really freaked her out. So it seems like Kate is having some connection between the two timelines.
Some of the characters are showing up on other shows, or the actors are showing up on other shows, not the characters, which would be really weird.
Yeah.
Doug Hutchinson, who played Horace, he's now on 24.
As Davros, the Russian mobster.
Yeah.
By the way, 24 kicks ass too. All right, Dominic Monaghan as Charlie. We all love Charlie. He's now on Flash Forward, as well as Sonia Walger, who is Penny Widmore, is also now on Flash Forward.
Ian Somerhalder, who was Boone, is now on The Vampire Diaries on CW.
I like him a lot more on that show than I did on Lost. Julie Bowen as Sarah is now on Modern Families. I haven't seen that show, but the promos look funny. I loved her on Ed, by the way.
Elizabeth Mitchell, who was Juliet, is now on V.
Haven't seen that, but looks good. And then Tanya Ramon, as Alex Rousseau, showed up last night after Lost on The Forgotten.
All right, that does it for this week.
Follow at Jack Yax on Twitter or become a fan of Jack Jacksonville on Facebook.
And until next week, we are
Hopelessly Lost.